The sword tested in this video is from Katana Mart's Practical Dojo line. It is constructed of 1060 carbon steel, has a nagasa of 28 3/4 inches, and weighs 2 pounds 4 ounces. This sword was tested with its factory edge.
It doesn't have a bad feel. It looks nice. It has a certain sharpness to it, but not a real sharpness to it. I have a very solid feeling that it has a wedge that's more like an axe and less like a sword. And when you inspected the cuts, they were good and sharp, but they just would not go through. The cut of it begins, but it just stops at wedges in there. The edge geometry is just off, and it's just a miserable cutter. Maybe good for doing forms with, but as far as cutting, no, I wouldn't use it, at least without putting another edge on it.
You know, I had the worst results with this sword compared to all the others. It would just hit the target, go through for a bit, and just stop. A couple of cuts, the sword basically got stuck so hard, I basically had to kind of manipulate the blade to actually get the sword out from being stuck inside the target. And if you looked at the video of the cuts when it's done, the mat is completely upright. I didn't make a single cut all the way through it. On every cut that I did, it would go through about 3 or 4 centimeters. So it can cut through, it can cut through a thin, through thin layers, but it will not, it won't go all the way through. I would say without question of the swords that we have done so far, this one has had the most unsatisfactory performance.
Okay, so first when you pick up the sword, it's a very nice looking sword. And it also makes, a great sound when you swing it properly. But when we got to the cutting, it's very, very difficult to cut the, the mats that we used. I got about maybe like almost 85–90% through the target, but they just didn't finish through. Normally, I have trouble with the horizontals, but I think I made it right through on, from horizontal from right to left. It like blasted right through. The sword handles great. It responds well, but it just was very difficult cutting through the Nihonzashi mats with this sword.
That sword was a little heavier. It really didn't have much luck cutting either or of the overhead cuts. In terms of the weight, I thought it was pretty good. Seems like everyone else had difficulty cutting with that particular sword. terms of cuts, it really didn't do too well. Just didn't cut.